All right, here we go.
Everybody, we are back. It is Taped On Live, your favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at the BD Williams for BD. We are back, guys. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus, a little while to cover this draft, but you know what I'm saying. You gotta have some breaks a little bit. You know, the draft is a lot of grinding of a lot of players, and especially this year was definitely wasn't the greatest film in the world to grind, so he definitely needed that break. You know what I'm saying? I went to, you know what I'm saying, so we're back though. Get to review the rest of this draft, and we're starting today with the first and second round, going into deep dive into Tyree Wilson and Michael Mayer. Mayer.
Right.
Get it, Michael Mayer. That's
Mike Myers. Mike Myers. He'll be a nightmare. Hopefully he'll be a nightmare for AFC West.
Michael Mayer. Yeah, Michael Mayer. Yeah, I'm already messing up names.
I mean, the true Mike Myers is Tyree Wilson. I mean, that's what Mike Myers. That's the Mike Myers stature. You know, like that's the boogeyman. If you got anyone to jump off the bus first, that's Tyree Wilson. He definitely looks like a guy out of a horror movie. You know, he looks like the monster. He looks like the final boss. You know, in a video game. That's the kind of stature he has. But so yeah, today we're gonna go over first round, second round, right? Tyree Wilson, Michael Mayer. You know, I think those are really some two good prospects, and you know, there's definitely a lot of film on those guys. So, you know, this is going to be probably a mostly positive episode, guys. As we go on, we might have a little bit more critiques, you know, as far as the draft goes. Sure. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's what we're doing first. But before we get into that, is there something, anything that you wanted to address before we jump into the film?
You know, a couple things. Maybe places where the Raiders didn't go. Offensive line was very interesting. The Peter King article came out, and they talked about them liking Paris Johnson, almost trading back for Anton Harrison, who was a tackle, played left tackle exclusively at Oklahoma. Would have had to maybe just make a switch to right tackle, which would have been an interesting thing for him. Probably a little bit of an adjustment there, but they're going to trade back for him, right? Who ended up going 27th, right? So he was a first round pick. I mean, the value of where they would have took him, who knows where they were traded down to. But just to have Paris Johnson, look, just from the looks of it, from Peter King's article, looked like he was number one on their board. And then, you know, the plan for the Cardinals right now, just in the articles I've read, I could be wrong. You know, this is not a Cardinals podcast, but the Cardinals, they are moving him to guard because they have enough tackles. They got DJ Humphries over there. And yeah. I believe the Raiders would have did the same thing because they have a whole, like, the guard position. But
right,
just for them to have a guy so high on their board for the offensive line and then not draft any at all with the offensive line that's on the table is an interesting move. And, you know, people could talk about what the offensive line did, best running back in the league, best rushing yards, whatever. But, you know, they gave up like over 200 pressures last year on PFF. And I don't even know how many I charted. I don't even have it up, but it's a lot. and then, you know, Josh Jacobs even slowed down the end of the year, only averaged like about 3.7 yards per carry to end the season, his last 5 games. So I don't think it's that great of a group, especially at the right guard. If they play Parham there, he probably plays better, but then they have a hole at left guard. They got a big hole at the guard position. You can say what you want to feel about Andre James, but they didn't address that. It's more to me that they have these two guys that were super high on their board, and they just don't. Everybody else was just garbage, I guess, to them. So
I mean, it definitely is interesting. You know, they had to have had other guys, you know, rated higher. I mean, maybe all the offensive linemen that they took, you know, ended up getting snatched right before that they were ready to pick. Who knows how that situation played out? I completely agree with you. It is strange to not get an offensive lineman. I think when you look at kind of like the arms race in terms of like talent and everything like that, like defensive linemen are just getting more and more athletic. Like finding good offensive linemen is extremely difficult right now. Like, you know, so it makes it because you can have a very productive rusher who's like late or undrafted. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have guys who like come out of nowhere. You know, just like think about guys like Okoronkwo or whatever his name is for the Rams, or Bonio or whatever it is. You know, like you got some guys that just like they come out of nowhere and they're great, but you don't have that on the offensive line. Like you know,
Yeah.
that's extremely rare. You need to get these talented guys. Like you need to get them. So I think it is concerning that the Raiders didn't get one of those guys. Obviously, they got hit two blue chippers here, so that's the direction that they went. But I also think it's questionable that they didn't attack a linebacker position in either the draft, truly like early round pick, or in free agency. So I'm just going to read off to you. So just so I can hear Marcus laugh in the background here. I'm just going to read off the names of these linebackers. We got Chris Bolton, Amari Burney, the rookie, Darian Butler, Divine Diablo, Luke Masterson, Kanai Mauga, and Robert Spillane. Those are the linebackers for the Raiders right now. I mean, I think some people like were excited about Spillane. You know, he's definitely not going to be like a game changer or a playmaker or anything like that for the Raiders, and he might be solid. That's about as much as we're getting. So unless Diablo can, have a really like resurgent, like supplant himself as like one of the better linebackers in the NFL, this is looking like an extremely questionable group. I'm adding this Bernie guy. He's probably more of a developmental linebacker. Maybe like in year 2 or 3, we could start seeing something from Amari Burney. I wouldn't be like too super excited or high on the guy starting as a rookie. Like when's the last time you saw a rookie linebacker like actually play good? I don't know. That's pretty rare. That's a tough position. That's a tough position. So I think I think that also is strange that they didn't attack, or have a lot more emphasis on that position, because that's a lot. There's a lot of holes right there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, just it wasn't a great linebacker class, so kind of maybe I could kind of see how they kind of would feel that maybe there wasn't people there that they wanted to take. I could see that, but it's just kind of boggles my mind when you have that group that you have really no great players. Like, who's the best player there right now? Divine Diablo, right? I mean,
Spillane.
Spillane.
So it's like the best one is a mediocre linebacker. That's the best one.
Yeah, and that's just not the best feeling in the world right now. So,
yeah, I mean, I just think these picks right here in the middle: 100 Trey Tucker, 104 Jacorian Bennett, 135 Aiden O'Connell, even 170 Chris Smith. Like those could have been linebackers or offensive linemen, and we avoid this conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So we're gonna jump into it. I'm not gonna even ask. I'm just gonna go first. Okay, because I got the first round pick. I'm doing, and it ends on a little bit of a sour note. So I'm hoping that you bring up the positivity on the back end with the tight end here, because we are doing tape don't lie, and I have to be honest with you guys. I'm not gonna just put together a highlight. You know what I mean? I am going to show you guys what's really going on here with Tyree Wilson. So first thing, without any further ado, we'll just get into it. We're going to talk about the run game. Tyree Wilson in the run game, he does a really good job, I think, and he makes a lot of his plays in the run game, shooting gaps and getting penetration into the backfield. When he gets upfield, he can be a serious problem. I mean, you just see, first of all, 67 comes out here to reach him. We're trying to get him all the way out here to the sideline, block him out the sideline. You just see him kind of torque his body, extend, get that long. You see how long his arms are. Just extend those arms, detach, get into the backfield for tackle for a loss. He has, I would say, the majority of the plays when he's making them in the run game, 100%. He is shooting gaps. He's getting one-on-ones, and he's just getting that penetration into the backfield, using that length to extend the arms, get guys off of him. And he does this quite a bit, where he just bullies guys like this. There's no technique here. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, watch this move that he did. He literally just put his body on the guy and ran his legs through him. I mean, he's a problem when he gets going. He's a very big, strong, powerful man. And we see him here get that penetration, and then also the hustle, the effort to get that back on the ground. Afterwards. So all these ones that you're seeing, get that penetration in the backfield. He also does a really good job making plays, running down the sideline or running down the line of scrimmage on the backside. He makes a ton of these with that motor of his. I mean, I'm just picturing, Max Crosby on the front side, turning that back, and making him cut back right into the arms of an unblocked Tyree Wilson. I think that's going to be a play that the Raiders see, or that we see as Raiders fans in the run game. Now, let's talk about Tyree Wilson's anchor. Really, he's got physics working against him. We see how tall this guy is. And there's times where when the pad level isn't low enough, okay, and we're standing all the way straight up, he has a hard time bringing his hips down and re-anchoring, and he can get driven out at times. So this time against the tight end, he does a good job, kind of turns that corner, makes it a short edge. So we see him set the edge right there. Yeah, here's another example where we are going to be able to get that pad level down, make it a short corner, okay, for that running back to turn it back into that defenders. So we see him do that, but then we'll also, at times see him kind of get twisted out of the hole. This next one is a really egregious one where you see him, 67 is going to go ahead and try to get that reach on him, and you see where he starts. He starts 3 or 4 yards inside the hash. By the time 67 is done, taking him for a ride, he's 4 or 5 yards outside the hash. The ball carrier is going right where he wants, or right where Tyree Wilson is. I'm not down on him. I think his edge setting can definitely be better, and a lot of it just has to do with pad level and making sure that when he fires off the ball, his helmet isn't higher than his opponent's helmet. Like in this case. So there are occasions where he's getting torqued out of the hole, where he's getting pushed around by linemen, and it's really, this is an example right here of that happening as well. 19, kind of, you see the tight end get underneath his pads, and you see Tyree Wilson just being off balance, not bringing his pads down. He needs to do a better job anchoring, really. All right, so now let's get into the pass rush, okay? I'm going to start with the critiques of the pass rush. And really the biggest problem that we see with Tyree Wilson is his pad level. We see him standing up tall, standing straight up way too much. And we see what happens here as a result, because he's standing so far straight up, we're not getting a good detach. He's leaving himself open. Look how much body this is. He's leaving himself open for like a shot, a double, something like this. Okay. And unfortunately, I got to be honest with Raiders fans, this happens a lot on tape where Tyree Wilson kind of gets jammed up on his pass rush. He gets doubled, and then he gets taken to the ground. I don't like seeing this from defensive line prospects, like the amount of times Tyree Wilson ends up on the ground. It's honestly, it's too much. And so that's definitely something that he's going to have to clean up in his game. We see him here again. He's out of control. He's off balance. His pad level is not low. So what happens? Gets shoved to the ground. That's something that he's going to have to work on, okay? His contain rush, Tyree Wilson's contain rush, this is definitely a work in progress. This is something that he's going to have to get better at if he wants to, consistently make pressure in the NFL. I would say that the majority of Tyree Wilson's edge rushes, contain rushes, look exactly like this one. We're going to see him kind of front the guy. It's a really bad get off. It's a slow get off, and he's going to trying to go just for that around the corner with a bull. And if you want to get that bull rush, you probably should have a better get off. You see him get kind of stalemated right there. I would say the majority of Tyree Wilson's edge rushes look just like this. He doesn't get a lot of pressure as a contain rusher looping around the pocket. Sometimes, you see him here. Again, his alignment, I talked about this a lot. His alignment doesn't help him here. He's a contained rusher, but he's in a 4-eye, so he's technically lined up in the B gap to play the run. But then when he sees it's a pass, he converts into an outside rush. You see him here. He's trying to turn that corner. He just doesn't have the balance, okay, to, like those edgy, those twitchy edge rushers who can turn that corner at this angle. I'm just here to tell you guys that's not Tyree Wilson's game, guys. Okay, like he's not one of those really bendy, twitchy edge rushers who's going to do all that. So a lot of his edge rushes look like that. Now he does, like, this is unblocked. I'm just showing you guys the closing speed. Okay, he does have the burst, the explosion. Okay, to make a play off the edge. Just got to see better technique, better fundamentals, better pass rush plan. This is a very interesting rep. I think that this is going to be how Tyree Wilson wins. Okay, so first of all, a little better of a get off. We're selling the speed. We're selling the speed rush. Okay, and before we get into that speed rush, all of a sudden now we're converting it. We're going to go for that long arm, and now we're going to convert it, and we're going to come much flatter towards the quarterback and bend that edge. And you see how he gets that pressure. And this is kind of, a disappointing rep because he wins this rep and then just misses the quarterback altogether. So, again, there is some positives here, but not a complete or still a project as far as being a contained rusher. So, how does he rush the passer? Okay. It's really the majority of the time that he's getting pressure on the quarterback. It's with an inside move. He's stunting, he's edge rushing, and then inside counter, or he's just rushing over the guard of the center. So this is an example where he's rushing over the guard. Okay, just gets that pressure into the backfield and forces this quarterback to bail on the play. Okay, so he creates that pressure right there. We see him, get that kind of pressure at times. Here's a beautiful rep. I think if he comes in and does this on third downs, Raiders are in a good spot because Max Crosby's off the edge, Chandler Jones is off the edge. If he can do something like this, okay, he's splitting double teams just with raw power and getting to the quarterback. That is literally. No coach is like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I taught him to do. This is just pure, I am stronger than these other men right here. You cannot teach that, okay? So he's got some things there. We see him rushing, through the guard and tackle. Again, we're going to rush through the guard and tackle. Look at this. When he gets a good get off, and when he gets his pad level down, watch his head. His head is underneath that guy's chin. He's rocking this guy's head backwards, throwing him into the backfield. Okay, so all those poor reps that you saw, you can forget about those. Look, what men can do this, okay? That is a rare person that's going to be able to throw a 300-pound guy backwards like that, like he's his little brother, and then body slam the quarterback. So when he wins, he does this. Now, this is a fantastic, one of his better reps. We're going to see him. He's playing the run. This is called the surf technique. When he sees the guard pull out, he's going to go ahead and get outside, try to box it. Now he realizes, oh, it's a pass. Let me get into my pass rush. So he goes, okay, at first he sells the outside and then comes across with the hump move inside to detach. Again, this is an inside move, not an edge rush, not a contain rush. This is an inside move, wins with that inside move. I think that's how he's going to win in the NFL. This is a really fun one, in my opinion, because we do get that little play action. We are getting that little run action blocking set from the offensive line. Tyree Wilson is going to go ahead, play run first, realize, oh, it's a pass, get off of me, chases this quarterback down, forces his quarterback out of the pocket, and then also finishes the job. So Tyree Wilson, it is a work in progress. There is a lot of things I could say, like, oh, his pad level is too high. He spends a lot of time on the ground. He needs to work on this. He needs to work on that. But with the type of athlete that this guy is, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these critiques, like, we don't even see these next time we see Tyree Wilson. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be things like he's going to have a better get off when we see him next. His pad level is going to be better when we see him next. His strength is going to be better when we see him next. So all these critiques that I'm having right now, I'm not getting too worried about it. I'm, wait until I see him as a pro, wait until I see him, on preseason and then on Sundays. And we'll see if what of these things that he's erased from his game, any of these problems. But it's definitely the sky's the limit. I'm not down on him, even though I had some critiques. I'm definitely not down on him. And I think it's still a very good pick, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, he's just definitely a lot of upside there too. Definitely a lot he can grow into. Definitely a lot he can get better at. I mean, they did ask him to do some different things at Texas Tech than he's going to do in the NFL. So I think this is going to be a big difference for him too. Kind of a little bit of adjustment. I think more hand on the ground. I think coming kind of more 3-point stance, not as much 4-point stance with 2 hands in the ground. I think it's going to make a little bit of a difference. Maybe help his get off a little bit. I think his get off is probably his biggest issue. I mean, you really should kind of point that out, but in my opinion, that's kind of like you just can't get off like that in the NFL. So it doesn't matter.
And right, yeah. But and again, this is a scheme thing. Okay. Tyree Wilson is being coached to get off the ball and play the run first, right? Like this is how the scheme works when you get into that tight front, right? Where you have him, what is he? Is he an edge? Is he a defensive tackle? He's like in that 4-eye technique. You got to have those 3 guys that are on your defensive line clog all those interior gaps and have everyone and spill everything out and make the ball carrier bounce. So those guys, they have to play the run first. So you see him lined up in a technique where he's like inside of the tackle, downside hike. He's playing the run first. Oh, it's a pass. Now I'm going to get into my pass rush. It's just hurting his pass rush. It does not help his pass rush. Whereas in the NFL, he's just going to be lined up like out wide, like you're saying, with his hand in the ground, screaming off the ball. It's going to be like, this is a pass rush rep. Get after that quarterback. We're going to see. This is a scheme thing. He's being coached to be a little patient coming off the ball. We are not going to see that lackadaisical get off anymore in the NFL for sure. Crosby's learned enough from Rod Marinelli. He's seen how it's helped his game. He's going to be on him. Chandler Jones is going to help him with that. I think his biggest issue is pad level. I think that's going to be a hard thing because he's so tall, and the guys in the NFL are so much stronger that he's going to be going against. So he has to really improve his pad level. If he plays with that pad level, he will not be effective until he drops it, until he gets that down. Whereas if he plays with that get off, I agree it's going to hurt his effectiveness as a rusher, but you'll still see him make plays because he's such a beast, right? As long as he brings that pad level down. But yeah, but I agree. Get off, pad level. We see those improve. We have a really good player.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And like I said, sky's the limit. Just with that size and that power and everything that you could do with him, man, you can move him around, move him inside. If he hits his potential, which sometimes with these prospects, it's always by year 3 most of the time. Like Rashad Gary, those type of guys. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to develop. Hopefully, we get some early production out of him. But there's what Chandler Jones is there still. Max Crosby is still there as well. And we can move him and mix him in and get some, from some production from him this year. You definitely want to see some growth at the end of the year, give you some excitement going into year 2, I believe, because you are right, man. That pad level is just not going to come down in October. You know what I mean? So let's keep it real. Like, unless he's just putting that work in to get that pad level down like that, which, hey, we'll be cool with that. But I don't expect that to be done by October to get that fixed. So there's gonna be a little work in progress, but there's still gonna be some players he's just gonna overpower no matter what. So that's what you gotta like about it.
Right, 100%. And yeah, like all the fixable things, all the teachable things, all the coachable things. Yeah, like we can talk about it, right? But if he does those things, it's like, whoa, like this can be an incredible player, right? So I am excited. I'm not down on him at all. Like all the things that we're talking about are fixable.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. All right, man. Any other thoughts on Tyree Wilson?
I think if people see him as a rotational player early on, they might get a little upset. Okay? Don't get upset. All right, people? Like, let this guy get his feet underneath him, and it's okay if he's a rotational player. We showed that there are things that he needs to work on, right? When they're drafting him, they're not drafting him for day 1. They're drafting him for like his 2nd and 3rd and 4th year, right? Like that's why they're drafting this guy. So he's definitely, if he plays really good football, he's going to play even better football next year. So whatever his baseline will be in year 1, we're just going to see better and better and better. He's going to stack it up for a couple years. So be patient with him.
Okay. All right, man. I guess we can get into Michael Mayer now. Mayer is, I think, a steal. for sure. I think this is a
Okay.
big steal for them. I will say going into it, I thought he was a better run blocker.
Okay.
I'll show that. So, but as a receiver, he's pretty damn clean. Like there's really, I guess I could have say he's slow. I guess I could have did that. But as a receiver, he's pretty damn clean. He doesn't drop the ball. He runs pretty damn good routes.
Yeah.
I think with him, it's gonna be a little bit of how he separates against off coverage a little bit. I think he's got to do that power thing. He's kind of be a power guy, separator a little bit with that. But I'll talk about that too as well. So we're going to go over a little bit all Michael Mayer, deep dive into him. So let's just get into it, man.
All right, let's do it.
All right. You see it? We're good?
Yeah, we're good. Perfect.
All right. So, start off with his blocking. Like I said, I mean, he's not Gronk or anything like that. He's not George Kittle. I mean, he's a good blocker. I'm not going to say there's some instances where you can see that he has he's a tight end blocking, right? It's not like George Kittle, who looks like he could play left tackle, or even Washington from Georgia. So I think there's a little bit of a knock on him. He was supposed to be this revered blocker, but you watch him on film, it's it's okay. But you see some good elements here. Watch him get to the second level right here. Get a good block on the linebacker 32. Right. So, I mean, the thing is his pad level always stays kind of high like this. Never gets really low pad level. It kind of just fully depends on his play strength to try to run guys over. And it works pretty well right here, right? You kind of get a good block there. So go back on that one. Kind of see a little down block here with the pulling guard. Basically on a little counter run here. Like I said, this is a good job getting in there, getting a nice little block. Here we go, another zone, kind of like a little bit of just straight up power again. Right? Just really good on like kind of safeties and cornerbacks, right? Tight ends can be blocking more than that. See him kind of full in the fullback position here. High pad level again. So it's going to come back to haunt him here, right? So we got a little bit of high pad level one more time, but there's always good hands inside when he blocks. Pretty good form is that pad level. He's kind of just standing straight up, blocking this corner right here, right? He's not getting below him, but it's a cornerback, so he can make those type of blocks on them because it's not going to be a big deal. And this is one of his best blocks here, and you kind of see what I was talking about with pad level. He's got Myles Murphy right here on the split zone look that he's kind of split zone action here. You get a good block right there on Myles Murphy, kind of springs a hole right there for number 7. So let's watch that one more time. This little split zone here. The jet motion. You see when he gets that good low pad level, though, he can get a good block right there on defensive end. Helps bring some yards there. Right. But, sometimes it doesn't work out for him because, the play strength becomes a question when you have that high pad level. So you see it right here. You get the high pad level again against 35 on this block right here. Just kind of gets pushed back a little bit. Doesn't get any push. 35 can just shed him really easily and make a tackle. Right. So he gets no push right there. You see the high pad level again. He's a tall guy. But you see 35, just a lower man. Right. He's able to set the edge a little bit, shed, make a tackle. Here he is again one more time against 35. You see out here, high pad level, boom, gets pushed, gets thrown back, gets tossed. And, Myers 250 pounds, right? So it's called Mayer is 250 pounds. I can't get these names right. I'm terrible with this. So Mayer, but you see right here, the high pad level, this guy gets lower than him and just tosses him. So you kind of see it is a problem. He's like, so, this is what he's kind of revered as, the baby Gronk type of thing. But, Gronk's not getting tossed like this.
Nope. Not at all.
Not at all, right? And then here he is against Myles Murphy here, right? Right here. Got the line in the shadow here. But he's against Myles Murphy right here. You kind of see there's no push against Miles Murphy there too, right? But it, you know, he can get better, become a better blocker, get his pad level down. But I just don't think it's something that is a strength for him. Like you could say that he's a really good player there. I think it's a little bit of a weakness in my opinion. So it is interesting, just his outlook there as a blocker is just not something that it gets you very hype, right? It gets you going. But I mean, there are some elements where you see some good blocks like this one, but it's usually on like a cornerback or a smaller safety. You get a good push like that for the quarterback right there, but it's never really like against a linebacker or a defensive end where that's where you really want him making those great blocks. All right. Passing game. Now this is where I'm talking about he can really help this team day one. He's going to help this team in the passing game as soon as he steps on the field because there's so many things that he can do. So passing game, he can get you yak on screens and little shovel passes, quick outs, whatever you want to do, you can get him the ball. Michael Mayer can make some plays for you. So here's right here on the screen right here. Good setup. You see he's got this linebacker lined up. He thinks he's going to make the tackle. Whoop, right? Make the guy miss a little bit. Gets tripped up. But kind of see his ability in the open field. All right. He's not the easiest guy to tackle in the open field right there. That's wrong time. So this is things you could do with him. Just getting the ball in space. You can throw a wide receiver screen. You could go in 13 personnel, spread everybody out. Throw him a wide receiver screen. Kind of switch it up. Get some yak. You could do a little dump off. He's getting yak, jumping over people. So here's another one. So let's talk about these kind of little dump off, little quick passes, little RPO here, little RPO action. Keep the ball. Throw it to Mayer. Let him get some yak. And then you see a little bit of athleticism here. Jumping over people, getting yards. And this is consistent throughout his tape, too. Here's another one right here.
Choice.
All right, little choice route right there. Stiff arm this guy. So this is a 3-yard pass right here. He's going to turn this into about 11 or 12. So stiff arm that guy. Get a full extension. Get him to the 1-yard line.
Beautiful.
And these are things that he can do on Sunday immediately. That's where I think in the passing game he really helps. As he's gonna help. He's gonna help with Jimmy Garoppolo. We're gonna watch some stuff of him going over the middle, running the seams too in a second, right? And then this will talk about his route running skills a little bit. So you're gonna see him. Here's Mayer right here inside. This is where I saw about him getting physical at the top of his steps. So, right, he's gonna run an out route. He's not even gonna try to wiggle past this guy. He's just gonna run into him and create separation. And he's open, right? But it's just not a lot of separation, right? That's a quick pass. He'd have to make that guy miss. There's probably about 3 or 4 or 5 yards. I think it's one knock you can get on him is that he's not able to kind of make guys miss or create separation against kind of this off coverage. You watch him on tape. This is how he beats off coverage for the most part. And yeah, sure, that kind of physical is going to work and might work better in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? But when you're going against off coverage, you just want to be physical here. You're not going to get the most separation. You're not going to win like a Dalton Kincaid or, some of these other tight ends that maybe got drafted before him, right? So you see him just kind of get physical here. You kind of push that guy off. He plays for the Raiders. That might be pass interference too. So you got to keep it real there.
No.
Just checking. All right, so this is one of my favorite routes from him. I think I showed this on an earlier episode. Right, so here, you kind of get more press coverage here. This is what he does a lot better with his release. You see here, he gets the quick arm over with the stem inside with his release, and he got a nice little head fake. So you see a lot better on the backside, and he's wide open right there.
Can you run that back? That was nasty. That was filthy.
All right, here we go.
Filthy route.
See right here, he gets to kind of the press coverage, arm over, dig fake right there. Nice.
That's a 100% skill.
day one. I mean, I'm talking about day one. He is going to help this passing game, help Jimmy Garoppolo out, give him somebody a safety blanket over the middle. It's kind of funny. He's revered as a blocker, just kind of his scouting report, but you kind of can see maybe why he might have fell a little bit based on his blocking. But the receiving is kind of a little bit special to me. I think he's a little special there. So you'll see the head fake here really quick. Ooh, right there. They run a lot of digs. It's a great fake. The guy had to hold on to him. Still couldn't get the separation. Great throw. Future ASU player right there. Seeing here, it gets press coverage again. Press coverage, right? This is another one. Great arm over. Gets the guy going this way on the seam, right? Gets the corner leaning, comes back inside, separation. The ball doesn't go to him, but you're seeing separation there. Consistent separation that you see from Michael Mayer. Ball gets knocked down, but he was open. And here's another one. Pure separation. Whew, just inside move. Great release against press, right? So off coverage is a little different for him. Against press coverage, he does really well, especially in the slot. See him with the mix-up. He gets the jab step outside, comes back inside, arm over, separation. Wide open. I don't know what this guy – this is not very ASU-like right here on this throw.
He'll work on it. He'll work on it.
He's got Jalen Conyer this year too. So, but yeah, just threw it right behind him. But you see the separation that he gets, man. Right? It's consistent. This is consistent on film. Consistent separation, consistent route running. Day one, he's gonna be running these seams, running that goose concept. You know, hopefully, Jimmy Garoppolo's gonna throw an accurate pass there and hit him. But I think Mayer, like I talked about, he has a chance to really impact this team year one. I think he's going to be very impactful type of player. It's going to be hard for him not to be starting week one, I think. We talk about Tyree Wilson being rotational. I think Michael Mayer is the guy week one. He's going to be that guy, first tight end on the field. I think they probably believe in his run blocking a little more than I do, but I think O.J. Howard is a good pickup for that. I think, O.J. Howard can block pretty damn well. That's probably the best thing he does on film. It was kind of interesting to watch him. I was like, wow, I didn't know he blocked like that.
Passes.
He didn't catch your passes. He can block, though. He can block. That's why he still plays the NFL. He can block. You got to get you a blocking tight end. You keep a job. You keep the paycheck going. Keep feeding the family.
If you're 6'5", learn how to long snap and learn how to block. You'll be in the NFL for a while. All right?
For real.
Straight up.
That's O.J. Howard, man, because he has some good blocks over there. And for Houston, he caught like 2 targets.
Two, yeah.
2 targets a game, maybe. Some games he got 1. He put like 40 snaps. I'm like watching film, like, are you gonna get a target here? You're just blocking, huh? He's out to the block. Hey, but he does it damn well, and I think he's gonna fit that role. So, but I think Mayer, he can block well enough that they're gonna feel comfortable with him out there at the wide position as a starter. Yeah. So, and he can get better there. I think it's something he can get better at. He has a lot of power. He has a lot of play strength. I just think you have that high pad level, you're gonna get pushed around. Just like with Tyree Wilson on the other side, I think Michael Mayer has that problem as a run blocker. So, I think that you could work that, get him lower his pad level. I think he could become a better pass blocker. Be a better pass blocker too. I really didn't mention he really didn't pass block that much. You can see why, because Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's flexed out. He's not going to pass block.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I think O.J. Howard will mix in with him. I think somebody told me that O.J. Howard might be the odd man out. I think it's probably might be Austin Hooper, to be honest. If we were talking about odd man outs for those guys, if they could figure out another tight end, because Hooper doesn't block, and then what he has as a receiver, nothing Michael Mayer can't do. And they don't do a lot of 13 personnel. They rarely do 12 personnel. So, or pass out of it, right? Last year, they didn't. If I think Jesper Horsted's still there too, right? So, Horsted, might make it over Hooper. So those are the type of guys that Mayer might come in there and just take their spot day one. But I think OJ Howard is making his team. I'm declaring that because that dude can block, and I'm sure he's gonna be out there on those downs with
how do we know they're not
Johnson.
going in? How do we know they're not going to this into the year with 4 tight ends?
They might. They only kept 3 last year, I think. Only kept 3 last year.
Yeah, well, Cooper, Howard, Mayer. I mean, for sure, those are then that's the guys. That's who it's going to be.
Yeah. I just hope they don't want Howard to be they're not trying to throw the ball to him. I just hope let's not go that far. I mean, he can run up the seam a little bit still, but like, let's not get too crazy here. Right. he just blocks, but Mayer, I think he has some elements there where he can really start and take off and be a
couple things.
Great tight end. Yeah, go ahead.
A couple things. I saw a lot of technique from him beating press. Who beats press like that as a tight end in the NFL right now?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I was thinking like Mark Andrews is really good at that. Of course, Travis Kelce.
What about the Miami tight end?
Gesicki?
Gesicki, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good against press. He
can beat press, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely saw a guy who I think when you have that level of skill at the position that you play, there's a very, like you're saying, very easy to forecast and predict. Like there's going to be some production in this offense. I mean, you see him running choice routes. You see him with a lot of detail in his routes. That those things are definitely that's
yeah.
And I don't know it has to be like the most frustrating position to watch is like quarterback for Notre Dame over like the last like 15 years. It's just their worst position consistently, and you saw that in that clip. Like he should have been eating on some of those, like bro. So anyways, he's definitely going to get some better looks. Jimmy Garoppolo is definitely better than whatever they had over there. He's going to get some better looks, better balls thrown to him, and all that. But your point about winning like a big man, right? Like with the push offs and leaning on guys and putting the body on guys and stuff like that. That's something that if you're a tight end and you think, oh, I'm a really athletic tight end, and the way I win is just by with head fakes and routes and like a wide receiver or something like that. Well, are you as good as a wide receiver at that kind of stuff? Yeah. So you need the tight end to be the guy who wins like that. Of all of your guys, if you don't have a big body wide receiver who can win like that, your tight end needs to be the guy who wins like that, right? With the physicality, like it's not necessarily like tight ends don't need separation. They just need to present a big body, and sometimes in order to do that, you're leaning on guys. It's almost like posting guys up, playing basketball or something like that. So I think seeing that and seeing like him work those techniques and seeing him, go for the throw bys, go for the arm overs, go for like the little push offs and things like that. That's encouraging to see because you don't want a soft tight end. You don't want a tight end who's not willing to put in, not willing to make those tough catches and just wants to be a wide receiver and win with routes and everything like that. You don't want a tight end like that. Screw that. You want a tough tight end. That's for the little guys on the outside. These guys, you want to see that. So I don't think that he's going to get called for that, like offensive pass interference or anything like that. Come on, every tight end does that in the NFL. He's not going to get an emphasis on that. So if you're watching that and you're worried or something like that, don't be worried, Raider Nation. That's how you play tight end in the NFL.
Yeah. So I mean, steal. I mean, I don't know way around that. Steal for sure, and definitely was the best pick of the draft in my opinion. So,
okay, I have watched basically all these guys on defense, and I'd have to agree with that one. Best pick of the draft for sure.
Yes. Because defense is. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get to him on some other shows, but like Ja'Cory Bennett and Aiden O'Connell. I might do something. I'm gonna do something to Aiden O'Connell for members.
Okay.
Him against Michigan. So I'm gonna be doing that. Probably.
Against Tom Brady's old school, really?
Yeah,
The new Tom Brady against the old.
He got some good throws in that one, man. He can anticipate. He can anticipate. He got some good throws in there.
Does that sound like you're coming around on Aiden O'Connell?
No, I just see why they like him. I see why they like him. I just think I don't think you can make bad decisions like that and be good in the NFL. It just doesn't make you gotta
hopefully we never see him play. You know,
hopefully, but you know.
Well, actually, if we're doing bad, let's see it. Whatever.
I mean, let's see it. Right, that is true. If they're bad, like, hey,
let's see what got out of it. Right. But yeah, again, hopefully Raiders they win. You know, we never have to see Aiden O'Connell. That would be the best case scenario. Because if we see Aiden O'Connell, guys, we're in a bad spot. You know. All right, so that's it for me. I think we got here. That was kind of quick this episode. There wasn't a lot of news. There wasn't a lot of things. It doesn't seem like the Raiders have signed anyone, according to you, according to Twitter. So not a lot of extra things to talk about other than Tyree Wilson and Michael Mayer here. Any last thoughts before we get up out of here, bro?
No, man. Nothing else. Like I said, we're doing Aiden O'Connell. I'm gonna do for him members. I'm gonna do Trey Tucker too as well. Kind of deep dive into Trey Tucker, and then cool. We'll come back and do some. Look at the back end guys. We'll probably stick to second and third and fourth round because I think
we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So I would say leave a comment. Tell me if I need to do Byron Young on the next episode or Ja'Cory Bennett. So you guys can pick your flavors there. If you don't want to see defensive line again next week, but if you do, let me know. We'll definitely do Byron Young. There's a ton of film on him. I already have mad clips. You can watch like every single game Byron Young has played in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Alabama film is easy to find.
Easy to find, man. So yeah, if you guys want that, shoot, I can give you anything that you guys want for Byron Young. Probably track down some high school film in there too.
I know. That's funny, yeah. Because I mean, I was trying to find Nesta Severa just in case they asked me about him in the on the radio. All I have was a USC game. He didn't do nothing that game. I was like, man, what do you say about him?
Yeah.
He had a great Senior Bowl. Great Senior Bowl.
Okay, then that's what you say about
him. Great Senior Bowl.
So, all we can say.
Yeah,
all right.
That's it for me, bro. That's it. We're out of here. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, guys. Definitely, like I said, we always appreciate everybody, asking me when we're gonna do a show. So, I'm definitely happy that we got this out here for you guys. So, definitely make sure you guys check us out. Like I said, we're gonna, join the membership and getting up with the Aiden O'Connell, do some Trey Tucker. Those definitely be out this weekend. Some full on Aiden O'Connell versus Michigan and some deep dives like that. So. I even think about doing the Zamir White carries, guys. It's only 17. I looked it up today. It's only 17 carries. You might only 17, which is it's gonna be interesting to see how they do with that this year. But all right, guys, we're out of here. Peace.
All right, peace, y'all.